My name's Vishal Karavadra, and we'll be going over Power BI and Sage 200. So we'll go over what is Power BI, why to use Power BI, some comparisons against, how Sage 200 BI works and differences between Power BI. The potential of Power BI, I'll give you some demonstrations, some reports that I've set up so you can see the visualizations in Power BI in action. Then a little bit on how DMC can provide you training and get you set up so you can start to build your own reports if you require our services. If you have any questions throughout the session, then send them throughout the chat, and I'll try to answer the questions best I can at the end. So what is Power BI? Power BI is a new tool from Microsoft. It's been about for just over 2 years now. They're building it dynamically and very rapidly, so there's lots of new changes coming through to the system, updates, and they automatically push this through to the service, so there's new bits coming through all the time. It's a very powerful tool. It allows you to connect to multiple data sources, Excel, SQL. There's hundreds of different data sources you can actually connect up to. Bring that into Power BI, model your data, and then you can start to build visualizations with different graphs, charts, slicers, and have dynamic visualizations, which you can then publish to the Power BI service, which then gives you access to the web. So you can then see all of your reports on your mobile devices or via web browser when you're out on the move. So it's very powerful. It's quite easy to use as well. So it gives you the ability to create your custom reports available on desktop, mobile, and web. Okay, so this slide here that I've got up shows you some examples of some images that I've got of some dashboards. So there's 4 dashboards here which got multiple different visualizations all in one. As you click through them, the visualizations change and show you different types of information depending on what you selected. So there's one there that's country by sales, slowest moving stock items, a dashboard that shows you all of today's sales that will dynamically update as your sales are coming through. And then we've got top product sales as well in the bottom right corner there. So I'll go through these in a little bit more detail as we come over to the demonstration as I go through the Power BI bits. Okay, so why would you use Power BI? Power BI, Sage Power BI compared to Sage Power BI, Microsoft Power BI is very intelligent. It looks like Excel, so it's not something that looks completely different to a brand new system that you've never seen. You can have full access to the Sage database, so you're not limited in any way. You can use SQL tables to produce your visualizations or pull out Excel sheets or use your existing sheets that you may have in Excel, bring those tables into Power BI, create live visualizations and reports which then can be accessible over the web and instant access straight away to your live data. Okay, so I've got a little table here which shows you some key differences between Sage BI and Microsoft Power BI and certain limitations you have within Sage BI. Now, with the data refresh, if you guys use Sage BI, it works off a scheduled task which runs overnight, and the data will only be from the time of when that scheduled task is run. With Power BI, it has the ability to set up gateways, so you can automatically refresh your data, and that can be pinged out every hour. I think with the newer versions, you can even get it going up to every 30 minutes, depending on what type of gateway you use, but you can get it to refresh every hour, so the data is up to date. The data model that you use in Sage BI, it's very fixed with the data that Sage has pulled back from the databases. So whatever fields and columns they pull back, that is what you're limited to. With Power BI, obviously you can connect up to the SQL database. You can then grab any of the tables, join them all up so they're linked with the relationships, and then you've got full database access. So if you know the Sage database, or if you're quite database savvy and you can sort of examine the tables and see how the data is linked, that is the key bit. Once you've got your databases into Power BI and they're linked up with the relationships, you can then start to build your visualizations and pull back the part of information that you actually see in Sage. So that's a major benefit. Charts and pivots out of the box. When you've got your Microsoft Power BI, you're limited to just one chart and one pivot, and it's then you have to do a lot of work to get more pivots and more dynamic information in there. But with Power BI, once you've got your data in, there's plenty of visualizations which you can just click and drag into the report, add different columns or data within those visualizations and start to build your report. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but once you familiarize yourself with Power BI, you will see its full power. Web access. With Sage BI, there is none. So you're limited to your desktop and wherever you've got Sage BI installed. With Power BI, once you've created your report in the desktop version, you can then publish that straight to the web, and it instantly appears onto your phone or your mobile devices or tablets, or if you've got the web access from any web browser. So that's another major benefit. So once you've created your reports, you can have access on your desktop, and then you can then have the ability to then publish that, so you yourself can access it online whenever you want, and then you can also share that to other colleagues or other people if need be, so they also have access to these online dynamic reports that are live. Dynamic visualizations, you're very limited. You've got a few slicers possibly, which will just change some figures around. But with Power BI, there's lots of different types of visualizations which you can play around with to give the effect, desired effect in your reports, to show you information in a much more visual way. Licensing. With Sage BI, you have to be a Sage user and have a license to actually then get any of the information through BI into your Excel sheets. With Microsoft Power BI, if you use the free version, which is pretty limited, we do recommend the Pro, then you don't need to have a license, you just need access to the Sage database. Once you have access to the Sage database, you can start pulling the data into BI and manipulating and creating your visualizations. It doesn't just have to be SQL, there's lots of databases you can connect up to, so wherever you have any account financial related data, as long as it's one of the supported data sources, which it most likely is, you'll be able to bring that into Microsoft Power BI and build your reports. And you can have multiple data sources as well. It doesn't just have to be fixed to just one type of data source. Multiple data sets. So I just talked about this a little bit. So with BI, obviously you're fixed to the Sage data and its limitations of what Sage is giving you. But like I just explained a few moments ago, with Power BI, you can connect any data source and have multiple data sources in your report. So if you've got some information in spreadsheets, some in some other online web database, and other information in the SQL Sage database, you can bring all these data sources in and start building visualizations. So that's another benefit. You're not just limited to the one Sage database. Okay. Right, so if I bring up my VM now, I will show you a few examples. Okay, so I've got a fair few that I've been playing around with. Part of our service that we provide, if you have any training for Sage 200 on Power BI, we will supply you with a set of dashboards which you can then configure to your Sage database, and it will obviously bring back data related to your actual data set. So if we did have training with us, we would provide you with certain sheets, data connections to Sage, which you can then play around with, manipulate, see how it's set up to then help you build your own if need be. Okay, so here we go. Let's have a look. So this is a report which I've created. And if I quickly show you, I'm not going to go into too much of Power BI itself, but if I show you the tables that I brought in, here are some of the tables that are all joined up, and if you're familiar with Sage tables, then you'd recognize some of these. Some of these I've created. You can then see the tables and manipulate your data within the data model itself. Remove tables, format it, get it looking how you want. Now none of this touches the real Sage database. Everything is read-only. It brings the data into Power BI. You can then manipulate it and then build any visualization. So if you remove or change things here, nothing will go back to the actual Sage database. And then we have our actual visualizations. So here I've got a cherry picker on the left. I've got a bar chart showing me total number of sales by document number. I've got a geo map showing me locations of where people are. So if I unselect Abbey, the map will relocate and automatically change to different areas of the world. I've got a year selection at the bottom here, so I can get breakdowns for just 2016 or 2017. And as I select on these, you can see there's little spinners happening here where my charts are then going to start to update. So with the 2016, there wasn't much of visualization changing. But if I switch it over to 2017, hopefully, there we go. We can see that the data's changed, the map's changed. Most of the orders around this area, the list of my order lines have gone down. And as I start to cherry pick a couple of these customers, let's have a look at Abbey on Future Homes. The visualizations are changing. I am actually in a training room at the moment with wireless, so it's actually going up to the SQL database upstairs in the office. And you can see that the visualizations have changed. And if I select one of these rows here, I can get a breakdown of exactly that document and what's on that particular document. So this is just one that I've created, which helps you see the visualizations moving around. I've created some other sheets with different types of visualizations on. In this one I also have a date picker, so I can see sales across different date ranges. If I select all of them, you can see that there's quite a lot all across the world. Again, if I just select a couple of these, you'll see how Power BI starts to visualize this information and break it down. And you can continue to cherry pick on these different types of dashboard items, which will continue to cherry pick and narrow down the information. I have one on sales by country. So here you can see all of my different customers. You can see the sales in bar charts here, and the different colors are the different countries. I have another geo map. I have a pie chart, so I can select the different countries. And I've got a table here showing me customer information and line values for the different types of sales. So if I select Britain, you can see that the visualization's changed, showing me all of my green charts here, the figures for Britain in this particular box that I've got here, showing me the total values and all of the transactions that relate to Britain. If I select Spain, instantly you can see we had a couple of sales in Spain from Nova and Neva, a couple of transactions here, and the map's also updated to showing you the relevant information of where they are in Spain. These guys are in Madrid. Another one showing different types of visualizations on country, so it's just different bar charts just for visual information for your side. You can see that I've got two different line charts over here showing me total net value and unit selling prices. I've got a customer cherry picker. Again, I've got my yearly breakdowns here. So if I unselect and select 2015, you can see this bar chart narrows down, it's showing me the sales per country. So you can very easily start to build these types of visualization. And building these, it doesn't take that much time. You just simply select any of the options from the right here and start to add the values within here. So you can see that I've got country, my document date, and here's where you enter your values and any filtering if you require it. This one here, you can also do some drill down information. So if I come up to, I've got my country map here. If I take it right to the very top, you can see that I've got my years of sales. So if I select 2019, the dev visualizations have changed. We don't have many in 2019, but if I select 2016, you can see that the data is changing at the top here. And if I hit the breakdown button, we can go down by quarter. So we can see quarter 4. And if we can go even further down into quarter 4 to go right down to the months. So you can have powerful drill down information, and my drill down goes by year, quarter, day, month. Okay, then we've got some nice visualizations here. So this is top product sales, showing you what products are the top selling by value. So we can see that the New England kitchen is doing the best, sold about 500,000. And I've added down lots of different customer selections here. So if I want to see top sales for just this one particular customer, see all my visualizations have changed. A couple of sales in 2015 and 16, and the Arizona kitchen again was their number one. The beach sink was number 2. If I want to see what our V sales were, you can see my visualizations have changed again. And another common question that we also have is, like, I've got a document created here which could be your salesperson. So we can say, okay, what has this salesperson done and what has he been selling and where? So you can see he's done well with the oven in 2000. It looks like my dates are going back to 2000, and he sold everything in Great Britain. Here you can see the ovens, and here's the customers that he sold to. So it's very powerful in the way you can set these up, and it's what you can sort of imagine what you want to get out of the system and what you can get back. This is a visualization that I've created more for sort of on-screen type views, or if you're somebody who wants to check sales that are happening. So with the automatic refresh setup, this visualization would update and tell you the sales. I've got a table there giving you the total net value at the top with the sales, who the creator was, what the last top sale was, and what the total sales are of today. And you can break this down. It is still selectable if you want to break now the visualizations down. If I select this section here, you can see that it's only showing me data for that particular section. I've got very similar for today's sales here. So I think this one was the top sales and top salesperson. And here we go. So this one was a top sale by L. Naming's not very the best name in the world. And so this one will give you the last top salesperson as well. Very similar to the one I just showed you. Another good one that people sort of ask for in Sage is customers with no sales in the last 6 months. So this visualization is showing me in the bar chart that Antiario Construction has done the most sales with us before, but they've not bought from us in the last 6 months. So that's the charts here at the bar charts, and we can select these to get a breakdown. So they've done 4 sales with us with a net value of about 265, and here's the transactions. So we can select each of these to narrow down what the sales were and what the transactions were. The table here, I've added some formatting in, so the colors show you the highest amount. Customers bought from us the highest amount, but the number here shows you that County Kitchens actually bought from us 11 times in the past, but there's been no action in the last 6 months. So this is a nice report that you can sort of build in BI. So we've built this with the help of my colleague Shane Henson, who's a senior consultant, knows Sage tables very well. So there was some assistance with Shane in building this particular dashboard. Shane also helped with a works order dashboard. So we looked at the works order tables and brought back a dashboard here that gives us information on what's going on with our current works orders, completed works orders that are now done, works orders that are part allocated that I've got here from a little selection picker that I've added. And obviously we can see all, and then I've got drop downs for years and the plan weeks. So what we've got planned for week 2 and what's the plan for week 5. So it's another one that we sort of built into the system that we think would be sort of valuable for people that maybe work with works orders. Okay, I'll go into some other ones that I've got. All of these ones are imported queries from SQL. If I go to my data source settings, this connects up to my SQL server and talks to my Sage 200 database here. So this is a connection to a SQL database, and it uses the import. So it brings the data in and saves it into the PIBX file, which is your Power BI file, and it's not a direct query. But you can also do a direct query, so it doesn't save it in the PIBX file. It pulls through the new data every time you refresh the information. So the next load that I'm going to show you is very similar sort of ones that you can create, but these are all created from Excel sheets. So this is just basically no joins. I've got one all sales Excel sheet, which contains these fields within a table. That brings me back one big table, which gives me lots of information to do with my sales. And then from that, I've built lots of different information. So I've built a dashboard here that gives me employee performance information, top 3 sales, quantity sold, what are our latest orders, and who's our best salespeople. You know, a little dashboard on salespeople. Built a country matrix with sales here, giving me different percentages of different sales and 100% totals in the bottom corner, and salespeople percentages across the bottom. And these are all just different table styles that I've used within Power BI. I have a data visuals one here that you can see. So this is using the customer products database. It's giving you all sales across different countries. We've got another table here which is giving the quantity and extended price. You've got your salespersons, people here, and all the sales they've done, a product selection, and a GL map showing you where all the sales are around the world. And we can also do product selection by just the first letters. So if I want to see sales for all products that begin with A, then that's all those products. If E, all our products with E. If we want to see what Janet's been doing, if we select Janet, you can see a breakdown across each countries and the sales they've done across the different countries here. If we want to see what chai we've been selling, if I select just the chai, we've now got breakdowns of the countries, of the sales done, the sales people, and what they've done across the different countries. And we can select individual people here to get further breakdowns of what they did within the particular country. So it's very powerful. I do also have a date selection here. So if I've moved my dates around, we can see transactions across different periods. It's a regional dashboard, quite straightforward. Here's another one that shows you teams and regions, so we can very quickly see what Europe's doing against North America's. And you can see that all of the figures are flicking around as soon as I change, letting you know the country sales and what each product's done. Okay, and I think I've got one more. Now I've got some here more like financials type reports in here. Now these ones I've created based on SQL views and brought the views into the Power BI model. So if I go over to my data set, you can see that these are views that have been created in SQL. So that gives us the view in SQL of certain reports. So we do a lot of work like this currently. Shane Henson creates a lot of views for customer requirements. So we can use these existing views, or we can build new views to help us build our reports. Again, we can bring the data in for modeling, and then we start building reports. So this one, I've got age debtors and age creditors that I set up. So looking at age creditors, we can see Gasworks is the highest that we sort of money that we need to owe out. We can see all transactions for just Gasworks if we select the one individual bar chart, and we can see exactly who owes what money needs to go out and what the prices are. I've got some drop-down selections here for if you want to break down and just see invoices, or if there was any case you wanted to check if there was any credit notes. Okay, there was one. So there's a selection on document type. We can do it just for certain customers if we want to just select, cherry pick customers here to see, you know, what the creditors are here, so the suppliers. And we've got the account number as well if you want to select by account number. So I've got another one for debtors, which is very similar, but I've added a date range here at the top as well, so we can, you know, just for demonstration purposes. You can see that the visualizations are all changing as I'm moving my dates around. Again, we have the transaction type, which I've added. If you want to just cherry pick certain customers, you can see the visualizations changing. And again, I've got a bar chart here that visually shows you who most, and we can cherry pick and check all of these information. Okay. couple there on customers, debtors and creditors. Then I did another one to give us nominal values. So this is like a full breakdown of your nominals in the system. And I've added cherry pickers here, so if we want to get a breakdown for our cost centers, so these are all of our sale and in, it will narrow down the list. This is a common question that people want to do, see figures just based on certain cost centers. So, and we can also do that on department. If you want to just do a nominal check on certain departments. And I've also added accounts here, so if you just want to check certain accounts, then you can do that. I'm just going to cherry pick a load here. It might not. So you can see as I'm cherry picking these, it's building down that tree structure with all the information for those nominals. And I've got a cherry picker here on account number if need be. I've created another similar one for budgets. I don't actually have budgets set up in my system, but we've got a similar one here for budget information. And then I've created a chart of accounts view here as well. So in this case, we're currently looking at a particular department, but if I unselect that department, we're now looking at the P&L. We've got all of our figures here. We can check the P&L on cost centers and departments. So here, you can very quickly get a breakdown of your P&L across cost centers and departments. I think this is, again, another common question we get through where people are looking for this type of information. We can also set this for the balance sheet, if you just want to see the balance sheet and not the profit and loss. And again, we can break this all down by cost center and department. And then I added a few extra visualizations. So in here we can see total expenses, direct selling costs. I've got this on a particular department at the minute, but if I get rid of that department and look at total overheads across everything, or we can just take overheads against certain departments. Trading expenses. So it's very powerful in the way we can set these up. So these are all good examples. If you had training from us, we would provide you with these data sets so you can play around with them. And I think I've done one as a direct query. So this one, you don't actually see the relationships, the modeling section. You see the relationship. As this is a direct query, it's only pulling the data in, and you can only sort of build your visualizations from this information. You can do basic modeling using the modeling tab, but the modeling section is not in here because this is a direct query. This actual chart is actually showing a slow moving stock that hasn't moved in the last 120 days. So here you can, and this is breaking down at the top here by highest value. So this is the slowest moving stock that we currently have left in our shelves. And you can see that I've got a bar chart here showing you down exactly how long these bits in here and what are their total quantities. And if you just wanted to cherry pick certain stock levels, you can do to just see what's happening there. Okay, so that should give you a good idea of what sort of information you can pull back from Power BI once you've got your data set into there. If I actually now just quickly go over to the service, once you're happy with Power BI and the reports are happy and you want to then possibly publish these, then this is where you then log on to the service and publish it online. So I'm going to just show you the process of what you need to do to publish that. These have been already published, but I'll quickly go through that procedure. You simply hit this publish button at the top. It asks if you want to save changes. I'm just going to say yes. Then it asks you to sign in. So you would have some login credentials for Power BI. If you've got the Pro version, then you may need to speak to your IT administrator for Office because they may need to enable that for you. Okay, so I'm getting a message saying that it's already there. Do you want to replace it? So I'll say replace. and now it's pushing the information up to Microsoft's Power BI service, which is an Azure service using Microsoft's Azure online services. So like I said, I am in the training room downstairs on wireless, so I'm a little bit not at my desk, but that's now done. And then we can say open, and it will take you up back to the online service, and we need to sign in here once more. It's a bit of a pain that they make you do twice. Okay, so this is your Power BI online. Now, like I said earlier, that Microsoft do release updates for this quite regularly. I think the service is something like every week, and the desktops every month, or vice versa. So things do sort of change when you come into here, and you sort of need to relearn what have they done, why have they moved things around. But it's just visual, small changes that they do, but everything's documented online. So here we go. Here is my visualizations. They are all published online now, and I can access this from a web browser. And I have instant access to the data. If I wanted to refresh any of these models manually, you can do so. You have all of your dashboard information here in your data sets. You can manually refresh from here if you want to, which doesn't take too long. Not like Sage BI, which takes quite a while to refresh your cubes and things like that. I think with the testing that I've done, the refreshing doesn't take more than 2 to 3 minutes with the data sets that I've been using. Okay, so these are now online. You can share these to other people. You can access these on your mobile devices or handheld devices. If you just search for Power BI in your app stores, download it, log in, and you'll have access to all of these reports. So Power BI is very powerful once you've got your reports created, set them up in the desktop application. Once you're happy, share them online, publish them. You've now got access. And then once you're actually happy and you want to share these out to other people, you can then go ahead and share these and grant access to other people in your organization, or you can have public. You may want to give public access, or you've got private access to people that are in your organization. Okay. Okay, so DMC, what can we do to help you build these reports? We can supply you with setup and training services, which I briefly talked a little bit about earlier. But if we do that, we will supply you with certain pre-packed dashboards that we've built ourselves already to help you understand how it works and sort of test and manipulate those to help you build your own. We have senior consultants here that have got many years experience with Sage 200 and the back-end tables, so they know them inside out. It can be time consuming sometimes trying to figure out where the information is in the back end, so rather than spending your own time trying to figure out where things are, we can provide that service to help you build your reports. We do use Power BI ourselves internally, so we have got a good understanding throughout the teams of different examples and different ways people use Power BI. So the knowledge is growing here at DMC through our training and our internal use. We are Microsoft Gold partners. We've been around for a few years now as business partners. If you're interested in setting up Sage 200 and Power BI for your business, then speak to your account managers and ask for further details. It is a very powerful tool. It is quite fun and enjoyable to use. It's not something that you have to pull your hair out for. There is lots of activity on the internet for Power BI, plenty of forums, plenty of users, lots of people using it, and it's very exciting times for creating nice visual, rich reports which you can publish and have instant access anywhere around the world.